Hello and welcome to today's video, where we're going to continue our discussion on words, numbers, and pictures with the introduction of the idea of using them to build a knowledge bridge. We're going to do that while we start our breakfast, and hopefully the sun is still shining. It's supposed to get a little bit cloudier this afternoon. I do want to go down by the river and continue my series on school. Why? Asking that very simple question and see if we can get some answers. In an earlier video, and I'll link that down below, I did a presentation on words, numbers, and pictures as the building blocks to be used for building a foundation and for a way to think about how we can make the best use of school and actually engage with it in a way that's constructed for us long term. As part of that discussion, though, I did want to touch on the other concept of why we're calling them building blocks. Because originally when I put that together, I had the idea in my mind, and I was trying to fit it together into the notion of, if you think of a person and their life and their mind and their imagination, it's sort of like an island in a way, because everything that's there is pretty easy to access. It's pretty close to you as far as the people you meet and the folks in your home and your family and in your neighborhood, etc. However, if you think about it more, there's a whole other universe out there, and there are other islands beyond your shores. When you think about your mind and your imagination, the things that you're exposed to on a day-to-day basis, you have access to, but wouldn't it be great to get access to those things on those other islands? So from that perspective, you can think of these building blocks of words, numbers, and pictures as a way of building bridges, as a way of connecting yourself to all the other islands in the universe. And the building of those bridges is really the most important thing that happens in school. Because when you go to school, you have an opportunity to have somebody teach you how to build a bridge. And I do want to kind of emphasize the fact that that's the nice thing about school, as I mentioned, that you have a teacher sometimes, or if you're doing an online course, if you're not really interested in the subject even, if it's maybe not your thing, maybe you're not a big science person, maybe you're not a big history person. I'm personally super nerdy, so I'm interested in almost all that kind of stuff. But if it's not your deal, that's fine. You can still get a value from that class, because what you can do is pay attention to how the teacher actually builds the bridge for you. How they use words, numbers, and pictures to build a bridge to get that information on that island, whether it's Science Island or History Island, and make it available to you. And the nice thing about watching them build that bridge is in the future, you're going to be able to build your own bridges. And the cool thing about figuring out how to build your own bridges is that you can explore all kinds of worlds. If you want to figure out what's going on different kinds of islands, maybe you want to go to Lamborghini Island. Maybe you want to go find out how the Lamborghinis are created. Because if you're curious, if you're a creative person, if you're engaged, and you want to find out about other things in the world and figure out how Mr. Lamborghini learned to make a car go from point A to point B really fast, it's super helpful to be able to know how to build your own bridge, to use these building blocks, words, numbers, and pictures, to explore Lamborghini Island, so you can go and get the cool information about that car and all the things that go with it and bring it into your world. Very, very important. So if you're in a class and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I'm not so interested in this subject. You still want to learn the subject, because let's not forget, diploma. Regardless of what you think about the subject, you're still going to have to learn it, because passing that class, getting that diploma still matters. That being said, if the only thing you learn in that class is how that instructor or that teacher used those building blocks to build the bridge from the information they're trying to share into your mind, awesome thing to do. Because like I say, learning how to build those bridges yourself is going to be a major life skill later in life, super beneficial to you. Okay, so I'm getting suited up, getting ready to head out to do a bike ride. So I'm going to take this video on the road, and we're going to finish the presentation on the river. So of the three things, those building blocks, you've got words, numbers, and pictures. Words are very good for telling a story. So if you want to share an idea where you need to let people know kind of early on what's happening, in the middle what's happening, so you can get them to the solution in the end, words are wonderful because you can have a beginning, middle, and end and tell a story with words. The other wonderful thing about words is they're broadly used. And what I mean by that is a lot of people use words. They have a good understanding of words. You can register the level. You can hit very high level, sophisticated words, or very foundational words, very basic words to get ideas across. Either way, a lot of people are very good with understanding words and being able to share ideas through words. Then you've got numbers. So words, numbers, and pictures. You got numbers. Numbers are really great for if you're going to do the obvious thing, which is do a calculation. But conceptually, words are very helpful if you're trying to do something in precision. So with a word, you can say something's big. With numbers, you can say something is 157.35 feet tall. You can get very precise and exacting with numbers. Numbers are also great for comparison. For example, you can say in words something's big and something's small, but with numbers you can say one thing is 5 tons and one thing is 10 ounces. You can actually communicate things very effectively in comparisons with numbers. Numbers are also good with some basic things like a timeline, like telling time, distance and time between things accurately, that kind of activity. The challenge with numbers is sometimes numbers aren't quite as broadly used. They aren't as broadly understood. For some reason, people tend to get concerned when you start really expressing things in numbers, or a lot of numbers get involved. So you might run into a situation where numbers, you have to balance numbers. You have to balance how valuable that precision, compare capability, and accuracy and calculation, so that you make sure that you're using the appropriate amount of balance between words, numbers, and pictures to get your ideas across. So numbers, like I said, not as broadly used, but awesome if you're trying to be precise and you want to be very accurate in what you're trying to communicate. The other thing we have is pictures, and I'll tell you what, pictures are something that get shortchanged all the time, because the phrase exists, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And there's a reason for that phrase. And that is because in my personal life, when I'm trying to get ideas across to people, if you have the ability to effectively communicate using images and pictures, it is awesome. It is hugely an advantage in time, because you can communicate so much through a picture that it would take you forever with words and forever with putting up numbers. It's amazing what pictures can do. And if you can think of that in terms of a house, if you were to tell somebody about what your house looks like and you tried to do it just words, you would have to use words for the color of the different parts of your house. You would have to tell what parts are there: windows, doors, siding, shingles. It would take forever to really draw that all up in an actual word text. Or you could just draw a picture of your house. You can put that image out there. Within just a minute or two, you can actually share all the ideas you need to about what your house looks like. And that's extraordinarily advantageous when, again, your mission is to try and get ideas and thoughts that you have and the solutions you've come up with and share them with other people. Being able to use pictures to do it is incredibly time efficient. So don't underestimate it. Now, let's recap. We've got words, very good for sharing a narrative and expressing yourself in a full and complete way. You've got numbers, very precise and able to do calculations, which a great way to communicate concepts when you have a lot of accuracy that's needed. And then you got pictures, extraordinarily efficient, extraordinary way to actually get an idea across very quickly. And the other advantage with pictures, by the way, is they're very broadly understood. A lot of people will accept the ideas presented with pictures. So don't shortchange it. So here we are at the end of our video. To wrap things up, let's do a real quick recap of sharing thoughts on school. Why are we in school? And what I've tried to present today is the idea that it helps you to build a foundation, because it really doesn't matter what kind of life you're going to have. You could have an amazing life where you're investing your time and helping others and creating a better world, whether that's through producing products or producing services that help people do things, whether you have a farm that you build or a business that you build, or really just raising a family. All those things will be made better with your ability to take the things in your imagination and be able to send them out into the rest of the world. The way we achieve that is by using the 3 things I've mentioned in this video, and those are words, numbers, and pictures. And it really is an opportunity within school to practice, to actually engage and have fun with it, because the nice thing about school is it gives you an opportunity to grow your capabilities in a practice mode, and you have the ability to go out and do it and just do it for fun. Get out there and write whatever your heart desires, whether you want to write a story or write poetry, or whether you want to write an essay, or maybe you've had thoughts, maybe you have an idea about how to solve a particular problem. Give it a shot. See if you can put that down in paper. Do the same thing with numbers. Get practice at using numbers, because numbers are like, one of the things about numbers is they're the most like a toy. They're the most playful things. I mean, you can go out and it's interesting because it's like playing a video game when you're working with numbers and doing calculations. And so do it, go for it, have fun with them. The same thing can be said with pictures. And if I can encourage you to do nothing else, is develop those skills of drawing and actually creating pictures while you're young. Because one of the things I've noticed as I've gotten older is A, it becomes more and more valuable to be able to communicate your ideas through pictures, and B, as you get older, for some reason, people become less and less, interested in having fun and learning skills and capabilities. I'm surprised how many times people will come up to me and they see me. I'm like this middle-aged dude, and I'll be drawing, I'll be kind of creating something on paper, and sometimes it'll be architectural and structural, like our fence project, but other times it's just for fun. It's just to see, can I take an image or an idea from my mind and put it on paper? And I'm surprised how many people are surprised by that. So bottom line, enjoy it now, engage, have fun with it, use your words, numbers, and pictures to go and be playful. Just have fun with it and create things and practice. And most importantly, to grow those skills and capabilities, because learning how to take ideas from inside your mind and present them out into the world is one of the most important things you can do as a kid. I'm like I said, if I could go back in time and I could talk to my younger self and explain to him, the reason you're in school, I get it, you got all these quizzes and you got all these tests to take and you got all these papers that are due and all this stuff you have to get done, but every chance you get, try and be as creative and using the words, numbers, and pictures and those skills and capabilities as you can, because at the end of the day, when you leave school, that is the thing that's going to be money in the bank for you, because that is the thing that you'll have invested time in, that you are going to reap rewards from for the rest of your life. I can't emphasize that enough. So that brings us to the conclusion of today's video. Hopefully you've had a little bit of fun. I'm going to wrap up now, finish up my bike ride, and head on home. You have a good rest of your day. Be well, everybody. So here we are watching the sunset in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And even here, we don't forget, it's all about words, numbers, and pictures.